What's up guys, it's your boy Nightryder and I'm back to share my top 10 tips for beginners in Modern Warfare. And even if you've been playing this game for a while now, hopefully it's a good refresher for you guys. So keep this in mind, these are in no particular order, alright? So let's just get started with number 1. Now the time to kill compared to other Call of Duties is much faster. And because of the faster time to kill, you have less time to react and try to win that gunfight. That's why it's important to constantly stay on guard and be ready for a gunfight at any time, at any moment. Usually the winner of a gunfight will be the one who spots who first. Now moving on to tip number 2, I want to talk about communication. And this applies whether you're solo queuing or you're squatting up with friends. It's important to communicate, whether that's using a compass to point out directions where enemies are coming from, or locations where someone is, figuring out what the best routes to flank are. Having communication will make you much better at the game. If you have decent teammates with you, they'll help you figure out where the enemy team is spawning from, how exactly are they holding down a flag or a building, whether there's a claymore at the entrance, whatever the case may be, man. Having communication is really important. And my next tip goes hand in hand with communication. That's audio. Audio is a big part of the game. Pinpointing where footsteps are coming from helps you get a jump on an enemy and helps you better prepare yourself, whether they're in a certain direction or where gunshots are coming from, or either an enemy right around the corner. All of this will help you become a better player and allows you to get more kills and die less, which is what we all want, right? And I'm not even talking about just footsteps or like gunshots. Even when like the announcer calls out where an enemy is, or when a cruise missile is about to hit, this game becomes so much easier when you start to listen to what's going on in your environment and around you. Like for example, oh, I think I hear someone using a shotgun. Oh, maybe it's best I keep my distance. Or hey, this guy is sniping. Maybe I could try to flank him, And if you're using like an SMG class where you're able to move fast and start hip firing people, hearing their footsteps, you might be able to chase them down, get some more kills. So I just can't stress how important audio is to the game. And just having like a good headset will definitely help. It's important to pinpoint where shots are coming from, where enemies are, whether that's to your left or right. So make sure you pay attention to audio cues when you're playing the game. Now moving on to number 3, you're going to want to use stim shot for your tactical grenade. And trust me, I found out the hard way. It allows you to heal up to 2 times in 1 life. And if you play Black Ops 4, it's very similar to that. You can heal quickly and re-enter a gunfight in no time. I know it saved me a bunch of times. You don't have to wait for your health to automatically regenerate. And having stim shot just allows you to be more aggressive. It's good in any game mode, no matter what you're doing for the most part. And it definitely saved my butt a lot of times. Alright, so let's move on to number 5. And this is probably the most used perk in the game. And that's Ghost. And pretty much everyone uses this. If you're not, what are you doing? And this is a great way to avoid UAVs. You earn them so quick, and so it's great to avoid that spam of UAVs when you're playing. You still show up on the mini-map when you're firing, but this allows you to stay off of it as much as possible. When you move around the map, it's easier to flank people when you're not on their UAVs. You can try to be more stealth and better conceal your location. Alright, so the next tip we got is to use cover and to use your environment to limit how much of yourself you're exposing during a gunfight. So basically the goal is you want to make yourself a smaller target to hit and make it much more difficult for the enemy to hit you. And I know that's really hard with your name tag popping up, but you still want to make it tougher on your enemies. You don't want to fully expose your body when you don't have to. Stay behind crates, boxes, rocks, whatever it may be. Peek when you can, mount your gun when you can, Essentially don't make it easy on the enemy to kill you. So next tip is number 7, and this is one of the top things you do when you're first playing a game, is find your perfect sensitivity. And this is whether you're hip firing or whether you're ADS, and you want to find that sensitivity that you're going to be comfortable using, that's going to help you to hit your shots on target. Don't be that guy trying to run out into the open, alright, thinking he won't get shot, because you definitely will. Alright, stay behind cover, man, especially when you don't have to be out in the open. And like I mentioned before, because the time to kill is so much faster, it's important that you're able to hit your shots on target. I recommend testing out, the different guns that you're going to be using. Check out the recoil. You gotta make sure you hit your targets at several distances. Make sure you're comfortable moving side to side, up and down, that you're able to do 360s with no problem, able to keep your crosshairs up in the shoulder area. So I will have a video about finding the perfect sensitivity for you guys later. You're going to be going through a lot of trial and error when you're trying to figure out your perfect sensitivity, but don't sweat it. You'll get there in no time. So moving on to number 8, I want to talk about field upgrades. Eventually you're able to equip 2 field upgrades, and no matter what you choose, you want to make sure that they apply to the class you're using, the gun that you're using, and your playstyle. Don't use field upgrades that aren't worth your time and aren't going to benefit you in that match or in certain situations. And being able to equip 2 allows you to determine which to use that's going to help you in the certain situations that come up during a match. For example, you can use dead silence when you're trying to flank an enemy, or you want to be a little stealthy, or you want to extend your kill streak with stopping power rounds to get more kills. Don't be equipping like deployable shield when you know you're not going to be standing behind it mounting your gun, you know what I mean? You want to find those that'll fit your playstyle for that match at that specific time. If you're holding down a flag or a capture point, you might want to throw down a trophy system to stop incoming grenades from killing y'all. Make sure you're just equipping the right fields upgrades for the right situations. And for the second and last tip, I want to talk about gun attachments. No matter what gun you're using, you want to be able to use attachments that will play to the gun's strength, and you're going to want to take notice of what are the strengths and what are the weaknesses of equipping each attachment. And what's great about this game is it'll show you the pros and cons of each attachment along with the stats, and see how this gun will benefit you or how it might hold you back. It's very important to understand what each attachment does to a gun and how it'll affect it and how it'll affect your playstyle. Some might have a good sight that'll help you hit your shots, but it might slow down your ADS time. You gotta like weigh, you know, what are the pros, what are the cons, and try to find that delicate balance of upgrading your gun but not preventing you from getting more kills. And that just comes with more experience, finding, you know, what are the 4, what are the 5 best attachments for this gun. And then last but not least, let's talk about experience. And this will obviously just come with time. The more you do something, the more you become better at it. And the same thing applies to Modern Warfare. The more you play, the more accustomed you'll be to the spawns, to the map in general. You understand sight lines, where people like to spawn peek from, or people like to hold down sights. You'll understand what are the best flanking routes, what are the best guns to use in certain situations, perks, field upgrades, everything that I've talked about, you're going to become better at. So don't worry about it if you're a beginner, you're struggling. Just keep grinding, keep working on it. Take all the tips that I've talked about in this video and apply it to your game. Learn from your mistakes, see what you did wrong, and then just focus on the next game, man. You know, it might be even simple things like knowing when to be aggressive and when to back off. Stuff like that, you'll just get better at the more you play the game, all right? So that was all the tips I have for you guys in Modern Warfare for you beginners. For those who aren't beginners, man, you've been playing the game for a while, what other tips should beginners know when they're hopping on Modern Warfare? Drop it in the comment section. And if you're looking for other people to squad up with, feel free to drop your gamer tag in the comment section as well, man. I love you guys. I'm out. Peace. God bless.